On our broadcast tonight from London at the summit, the president comes to Europe, he says, to listen and to lead, but can they work miracles at this huge economic summit? Under new management, General Motors struggles to reinvent itself, and now survival is job one. Testing the air. Is it safe? A sweeping new plan to monitor the quality of air that school children breathe across the United States. And risk factor, a new health issue because of a change in what Americans are drinking more of these days. Also tonight, how a grateful nation is making a difference. Nightly News begins now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening from London. President Obama is here tonight with his wife, Michelle, and with the other leaders who represent 90% of the world's total wealth. They are gathering here in the midst of a global financial downturn, generally agreed to have started in the United States. And tonight, one of the pillars of the American economy is in crisis. And it's now very clear the Detroit auto industry is never going to be the same again. Names like Chrysler and General Motors, if both survive, will be forever changed, changing a whole lot of lives in the process. We begin our coverage tonight with CNBC's Phil LeBeau. He's outside GM headquarters in Detroit. Phil, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. The old GM is dead and a new one is emerging. The new CEO says it is probable GM will remake itself in bankruptcy. The goal, a smaller, leaner, and profitable company.
Good morning.
With his company getting one more shot at avoiding bankruptcy, GM's new CEO, Fritz Henderson, says the automaker is preparing for a complete overhaul.
In the event that we need to fall into bankruptcy and basically use a court-supervised process, there are mechanisms to go fast, but it requires a lot of work.
In its drive to profitability, GM will become a smaller company with new leadership. 6 board members will be replaced, and the company that once boasted 8 brands may be stripped down to 2, Chevy and Cadillac. Hundreds of dealerships could be dropped, its European operations scaled back, and GM will likely cut thousands more employees on top of the 47,000 it has already promised to lay off. President Obama is giving GM 60 days and Chrysler 30 days to show they deserve billions more in bailout money, or they'll be facing bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy could have a lot of benefits for General Motors. They could emerge as a much more efficient company. They could have fewer dealers. They could have a more nimble portfolio of vehicles to offer customers.
Bankruptcy could allow GM to lower its massive debts, costly pensions, and enormous health care obligations. With more than 1 million employees, retirees, and their dependents, GM is the largest private health care provider in the country.
We've got a lot of experts working with us, advisors, bankruptcy counsel. It is our responsibility in order to prepare for that.
Even with the White House guaranteeing Chrysler and GM warranties, both companies know buyers are skeptical.
At GM, we're reinventing the ownership experience.
To bring in buyers, GM is now offering to make payments for customers who lose their jobs. Ford is doing the same.
Very nice.
At Maroni Chevrolet in Miami, dealer Benny Dominguez believes the new deal should bring in skeptics.
I think this is going to give reassurance to the customer that General Motors is not going anywhere.
The new offers from GM and Ford are not the only deals that are being put out there to attract buyers. Today, the IRS announced that some people may be able to deduct state and local sales tax as well as excise taxes from their deductions next year for new vehicles bought this year. Brian?
Phil LeBeau starting us off tonight in Detroit. Phil, thanks. Back here across the Atlantic in London, all of the various world leaders are getting into place. Once this summit begins, a reporter figured out they will spend less than 9 hours together, 8 hours, 40 minutes to be exact. That counts meals. And that's not much time to try to clear up the severe economic crisis that now grips much of the planet. And there is a harsh spotlight on the American president. Our chief White House correspondent, Chuck Todd, traveling with President Obama here in London. He's outside Buckingham Palace, where tomorrow the Queen will meet her 11th American president. Chuck, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Well, normally a presidential overseas trip is focused solely on tricky foreign policy issues, and this one will certainly have its share. But this is no ordinary time, and this is no ordinary trip. And just like the focus for the president when he's back home, the focus for this trip is the economy. The president left the shaky American economy behind this morning for his first overseas trip. His goal? Rally support for his approach to what's become a worldwide financial crisis. On Air Force One, Press Secretary Robert Gibbs laid out the president's priorities for the summit of the G20, the world's 20 wealthiest countries.
It's likely that we will come out of the G20 with very broad agreement on measures that have to be taken to address the global recession.
Mr. Obama hopes to use his immense popularity with the European public to persuade European leaders who are cool to his idea of more stimulus spending to boost the world's economy.
Frankly, the most important thing he has to do is to demonstrate that he's got clarity about management of the global financial crisis and exercising leadership.
Security in London is tight. Protesters staged a whimsical tea and cake sit-down in front of the Bank of England today and plan a massive protest tomorrow in what they're calling Financial Fool's Day. And while London is rolling out the red carpet, some feel the U.S. and Great Britain bear much of the blame for the financial meltdown. On the ground, Mr. Obama and British Prime Minister Gordon Brown faced pushback from two strong-willed leaders. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has been cool to Obama's call for more stimulus, and aides to French President Nicolas Sarkozy today threatened a walkout should the summit produce window dressing and what they called false success with language. Mindful of this challenge, President Obama called Brown from Air Force One today to prepare a united front. London is the first stop on an 8-day, 5-country trip, including a crucial meeting in France where Obama will call for more NATO troops in Afghanistan. Now, Brian, tomorrow the president, as you noticed, has his audience with the Queen in what is now a not very well-lit Buckingham Palace. But back home, a little bit of political trouble. His latest nominee for Health and Human Services Secretary, Kathleen Sebelius, revealed that she, too, had to pay some back taxes, just like Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner and the person she replaced, Tom Daschle. However, this wasn't a lot of tax money, about $7,000, and Senate's Democrats say she'll be confirmed easily.
Chuck Todd, not far from here at Buckingham Palace tonight. Chuck, thanks. Diplomacy came close to breaking out today on another front. There is another international conference going on just across the North Sea from here in the Netherlands. It's about Afghanistan. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is there, and the news out of there today had to do with U.S. relations with Iran and Russia. Our own Andrea Mitchell is traveling with the secretary. Andrea, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. The U.S. is reaching out to Iran tonight and welcoming an overture from Russia as the president and his Secretary of State continue to remake U.S. foreign policy.
Iran showed up today, and in a dramatic shift from the Bush years, Hillary Clinton sought Iran's help on neighboring Afghanistan.
If we are to succeed, we will need the help of all nations present here.
Clinton called Iran's response promising, offering help on drug trafficking and violence.
Iran is fully prepared to participate in the project aimed at combating drug trafficking and the plans in line with deploying and reconstructing Afghanistan.
Clinton deliberately kept her distance, but with her blessing, her special representative, Richard Holbrooke, made a point of greeting the Iranian, the first official diplomatic contact between the United States and Iran in years.
She went to the American school in Tehran before the revolution, and we just agreed we ought to remain in touch.
And Clinton followed up on promising signals from Russia today, after Russia's President Dmitry Medvedev told the BBC and the Washington Post he wants to overcome our common negative legacy and is, quote, ready for such work with President Obama. Monday, the Russians told the White House progress was possible on terrorism, Iran, Afghanistan, and Clinton says even their biggest disagreement, missile defense, especially if there is progress on Iran.
Well, we've made it clear from the beginning that the idea behind missile defense was to deter and prevent an attack coming from Iran or another rogue network. We believe that this is an opportunity for the Russians and the Americans to work together, and we've been discussing that with the Russians.
This is all moving very fast. Holbrooke already flew off to Germany for more meetings with the Russians. And Clinton says that President Obama and the Russian president will have a lot more to say about their progress on a lot of issues when they meet in London tomorrow. Brian?
Andrea Mitchell in The Hague for us tonight. Andrea, thanks as always. Turning to some other news, quite a bit of news about children's health tonight, including this, an announcement from the EPA today on the air quality around America's public schools. This is a big story. Health officials are placing air monitors outside dozens of schools to determine how vulnerable our kids are to what could be toxic air. Our report tonight from NBC's Rahima Ellis.
The fear that toxic chemicals from smokestacks, factories, and plants might be polluting the air around schools is a parent's nightmare. 1, 2, 3. A concern for parents in Dallas today.
So if they breathing in bad air, I would want to know.
It's why the government is taking action now. The EPA will monitor the air near 62 schools in 22 states for evidence of toxic chemicals. Most are near large industrial facilities or urban areas. The testing is expected to start immediately at some schools and be phased in over the next 3 months at a cost of more than $2 million. Here in Elizabeth, New Jersey, the air around this middle school will be monitored because it's within 15 miles of 2 refineries and 3 chemical plants, causing concern not only for parents, but the city as well.
We believe it's about the whole community. Them monitoring a school area, in fact, is going to give them data for the community as to what type of contaminants exist.
The government wants to determine the level of toxins such as benzene, manganese, and chromium because of the potential risk they pose to children whose bodies are still developing. Risks include organ damage, cancer, or impaired brain development.
As soon as we can begin to get information and data back to people, I think that will actually start to put people's minds at ease and give them the power to advocate for their children if we do find things that are wrong.
The EPA hopes to have some answers just as schools are letting out for the summer. Rahima Ellis, NBC News, Elizabeth, New Jersey.
And when we continue along the way here this Tuesday night, the other story about the health of our children tonight, a new and serious problem that used to happen only to adults, and later our Making a Difference report, making sure the nation gives back one state at a time, taking care of the families who've made the ultimate sacrifice.
Capturing the beauty of nature, sharing what I see, that's my vision, and I'm living it. Every day, Transitions lenses are there to help care for my sight.
Transitions lenses adjust to changing light to reduce glare and help protect your eyes from UV damage. So you can see better today and tomorrow. Live your vision. Transitions, healthy sight in every light. Authentic Transitions lenses are available at JCPenney Optical.
Bush's baked beans. Jay, it's Grandpa Bush. Let Duke sell Bush's secret family recipe.
Nice try, Duke.
How'd you know it was me?
Grandpa didn't have a tail.
Oops.
Enjoy Bush's baked beans made with our secret family recipe.
This might not be the best time to sell a home.
But we just can't wait for the market to heat up.
Need to sell? RE/MAX agents have the experience to get the job done. Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX. Where do you want to be?
During Lobster Fest, discover more ways to love lobster than ever. With decadent entrees like our Lobster Lover's Dream, our wood-grilled lobster and shrimp, and 11 other irresistible lobster creations. Ending soon at Red Lobster.
I worried what would happen if I didn't start taking care of my heart, but I wasn't ready to give up taste. Sometimes sacrifice is the name of the game.
Honey Nut Cheerio cereal tastes great and can help lower cholesterol.
I guess I can do this.
Be happy, be healthy.
Fishing pole? It's been a while. You stood in the basement gathering dust while I, sneezing, itching eyes, kept you from our favorite stream. The one that runs through a field where pollen floats through the air. But now, with the strength of 24-hour Zyrtec to relieve my worst allergy symptoms, indoors and outdoors. Let's go before the fish stop biting. They won't wait for us. But that's okay. Zyrtec starts working 2 hours faster than Claritin. Today we battle wits with the trout. With Zyrtec, I can love the air.
The stats and studies have made official a story you may already know about through a loved one. Because of what Americans take in these days, more and more of our kids are turning up with kidney stones. Our report on this new and unwelcome medical development tonight from our chief medical editor, Dr. Nancy Snyderman.
Amanda Snyder is an active, athletic 9-year-old.
But 2 years ago, she was rushed to the hospital.
She was moaning and crying and calling mommy and vomiting.
An ultrasound showed Amanda had developed a kidney stone.
The stone went up to 1 centimeter.
That's the size of a pea.
That's the size of a chickpea.
Kidney stones were once thought to be primarily a middle-aged problem. Dr. Pat Casale at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia believes it's now a growing trend among children.
About 5 years ago, we used to see maybe 10 patients a year. Now we're seeing about 5 patients a week. So I hear you had some pain down in your belly.
He says family history can be a risk factor, but something else has to account for the sudden rise. This problem isn't confined to children who are overweight or have other health issues.
The typical kid that comes in is a young girl between the age of 8 and 12 who doesn't like to drink a lot of water, is very active, and loves fast food.
Fast food and sports drinks have lots of salt that can strain the kidneys and cause calcium deposits to form stones. Now pediatricians urge children to drink at least 4 tall glasses of water a day in addition to anything else.
For Amanda, the prescription is medication, more water, and a change in diet.
I had to give up like French fries and potato chips and popcorn, but if I would eat it, I would have to drink a lot of water.
Simple changes to focus not on treating kidney stones, but preventing them. Dr. Nancy Snyderman, NBC News, Philadelphia.
On Wall Street back in New York today, stocks capped a positive month, believe it or not, with an up day. The Dow gained just under 87 points. NASDAQ was up almost 27. S&P was up 10 and change. And when we continue this evening, America is not alone in this terrible economy. The message to President Obama in these parts, welcome to a world of hurt.
If you've had a heart attack caused by a completely blocked artery, another heart attack could be lurking, waiting to strike. A heart attack caused by a clot, one that could be fatal. But Plavix helps save lives. Plavix, taken with other heart medicines, goes beyond what other heart medicines do alone to provide greater protection against heart attack or stroke and even death by helping to keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots. Ask your doctor about Plavix, protection that helps save lives.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you should not use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some other medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase, so tell your doctor before planning surgery. And always talk to your doctor before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix, especially if you've had a stroke. If you develop fever or unexplained weakness or confusion, tell your doctor promptly, as these may be signs of a rare but potentially life-threatening condition called TTP, which has been reported rarely, sometimes in less than 2 weeks after starting therapy. Other rare but serious side effects may occur.
If you take Plavix with other heart medicines, continuing to do so will help increase your protection against a future heart attack or stroke beyond your other heart medicines alone. You may be feeling better, but your risk never goes away. Help stay protected. Stay with Plavix.
Constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating. People, is your colon sending you a message? Now there's Philips Colon Health with probiotics. It helps naturally restore the balance in your digestive system, so you can avoid those very unpleasant symptoms with Philips Colon Health.
Dad? It's time. You'd be a really nice catch for somebody. Please?
Just for Men takes 5 easy minutes, targets only the gray hair, and can start something great.
Yes!
Just for Men.
Before they give you the lowest price, some pharmacies make you work for it with memberships and fees. But not Walmart. They have hundreds of generic prescriptions for just $4 for up to a 30-day supply, and no gimmicks. Save money, live better. Walmart.
Rebuilding America's economy will take energy from all sources. And here's some good news. Increased production of domestic oil and natural gas will also create well-paying jobs, drive our 21st century economy, and generate more than $1 trillion for federal, state, and local budgets. Money for better schools, public safety, and community needs. Maybe that's why most people support putting more of America's oil and natural gas to work. For Americans. Log on to learn more.
Tomorrow, want $20,000? No problem. 5 simple things you can do to get that money. Only on Today on NBC.
Nightly news at nightly.msnbc.com.
Tower Bridge, we're back here in London tonight, where a few hours ago, President Obama arrived for this huge G20 summit of world leaders. Much has been said about the economic problems back home in the U.S., but we haven't heard as much about the problems over here. You don't have to look far to realize this truly is a global crisis these days. Our report tonight in depth from NBC's Jim Maceda.
Boarded up shops, for sale signs. In Budapest, Hungary, it's a crisis of spending. Once the poster child of fast economic growth, this former communist nation lived the American dream, owning a new car and a home, and all on euros borrowed from Western Europe's banks. By the time the global crisis struck, Hungary was almost broke. Now the Hungarian forint is in free fall.
When Hungarian currency lost nearly 1/3 of its value, that means those loans and the interest payments have become 1/3 more expensive.
And many economists think Hungary will be the first in Europe to go bankrupt. Just to hold on to his tiny apartment, István Hatos, a freelance truck driver, has had to cut back on food for the family. I think people will go to the street, he says, because they won't tolerate any more hardship. But in Spain, the Florida of Europe, it's a different story, if similar pain. A 10-year construction boom turned towns like Almeria into a maze of condos and golf courses. Too much building, says 49-year-old Antonio Galvez, a jobless tile layer. The bank stopped lending, buyers stopped buying, and I was out of a job, he says. Unemployment is expected to hit a whopping 20% in Spain by next year. The building materials sector hit especially hard. This is where Blanco Micael, some of the world's finest white marble, is found. But starting late last year, international demand dropped 50%. Quarry after quarry shut down, leaving at least 1,200 marble workers, cutters, polishers, and transporters all out of work. So, desperate for work, the Spanish are increasingly returning here to strawberry-producing Huelva, where they compete for $50 a day with the immigrant workers who had replaced them during the boom. The government's even offering $14,000 to each immigrant willing to go home. Spain needs jobs, Hungary funds. But can Europe, a land of 27 nations with different agendas, really deliver?
This is still a remarkably fragmented confederation in which the nation-states do most of the economic decision-making. So each country has its own financial crisis.
And each crisis likely to get much worse. Jim Maceda, NBC News, Almeria, Spain.
And when we come back here tonight, finding hope after an unspeakable loss and making a difference for those left behind.
My name is Jane, and I've got osteoporosis, but I'm an on-the-go woman. I've been active all my life. That's why I'm excited about Reclast, the osteoporosis treatment my doctor gives me once a year. My doctor says one IV of Reclast can help protect me while I'm on the go for 12 months. How? Well, Reclast helps to re-strengthen my bones to help make them resistant to fracture. And with Reclast, well, no other osteoporosis treatment is approved to help protect in more places. Hip, spine, even other bones.
You should not take Reclast if you're on Zometa, have low blood calcium, kidney problems, or you're pregnant, plan to become pregnant, or nursing. Take calcium and vitamin D daily. Tell your doctor if you develop severe muscle, bone, or joint pain, or if you have dental problems, as rarely job problems have been reported. The most common side effects include flu-like symptoms, fever, muscle or joint pain, and headache.
Do what I did. Ask your doctor about Reclast. Year-long protection for on-the-go women.
Cascade All-in-One Action Packs. It does the whole show for you because it has the power to pre-wash and rinse food completely away. Cascade Complete, the best all-in-one pack.
Pain really cramped my style, but I get up, move around a little bit, take a leave, go to work.
Only 2 Aleve can stop pain all day. That would take twice as many Advil or 4 times as many Tylenol.
I'm pain-free. I could do what I want to do.
I don't always let my bladder problems or the worry my pipes might leak compromise what I like to do, like hunting for bargains, not always bathrooms. I take care with Vesicare.
Once daily Vesicare can help control your bladder muscle and is proven to reduce frequent sudden urges and leaks day and night. If you have certain stomach or glaucoma problems or trouble emptying your bladder, do not take Vesicare. Tell your doctor right away if you have a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days. Vesicare may cause blurred vision, so take care while driving or doing unsafe tasks. Common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, and indigestion.
You deserve better than to always be compromised by urges and leaks. Ask your doctor today about taking care with Vesicare.
This is a KGW News Channel 8 update.
Next, cold case cracked. An arrest in a murder 14 years ago. What led police to their suspect? And snow piling up on Mount Hood. Why some merchants now worry the long winter will hurt business.
And winter's not over on the mountain yet. I'm Matt Safino. I'll tell you about the next big storm to bring snow with Valley Rain at 6.
Making a difference. Brought to you by Vesicare.
We are back, and it's time for tonight's Making a Difference report. We received an email from a viewer this week saying that where she lives in Maine, she swears more people are paying it forward these days, helping others in this bad economy because of the stories we've been airing, stories, of course, that you have sent to us. Tonight's story, however, is a bit different, though it's still about acts of kindness. This story came about as a result of a great loss, the death of a U.S. Marine sergeant in Afghanistan. His wife invited our NBC News cameras to his military burial with full military honors to see what loss is like and how it can tear families apart and how sometimes it brings out the very best in people. Our Making a Difference report tonight comes from Montana and NBC's Chris Jansing.
This was not the life Nicole Johnson saw for herself at 24. A widow of the war in Afghanistan with 2 young children.
My world stopped when I found out my husband was gone.
Sergeant Trevor Johnson's dream was to see his children graduate from college. Nicole felt a tremendous burden. How would she provide the life for Landon and Aspen that she and Trevor had planned? 2 businessmen with ties to Trevor's home state of Montana were about to answer her prayers.
We assumed, like many people, that if one of our soldiers is killed in the line of duty, that the family that's left behind would be taken care of financially by the government. And it's clear that that's not the case.
So David Bell and John McCarrick started raising money. They enlisted the support of the University of Montana and founded Grateful Nation.
Montana's military has one of the highest fatality rates in Iraq and Afghanistan of any state. Grateful Nation aims to give the children of those fallen soldiers not just the money for college, but the tools they need to succeed there.
This building right over here.
That's why 16-year-old high school junior Dylan Highland is on campus regularly, getting tours, sitting in on classes, meeting with professors and a mentor. It's what Dylan's dad, First Lieutenant Joshua Highland, would have wanted.
Oh my gosh, that was his dream. Yeah.
For Dylan to go to school.
Yeah, that's all, you know, it was preparing Dylan for college.
All the Grateful Nation families, even with children as young as the Johnsons, get invited to campus to give them a sense of familiarity and belonging.
I always said it's dark and it's cold in this world, Trevor. People are not as good as you think they are. And he goes, yeah, they are. So I think he's up there telling me, I told you so.
Making sure the children of men and women who died for the American dream are able to realize it. Chris Jansing, NBC News, Missoula, Montana.
And that is our broadcast for this Tuesday night. Thank you, as always, for being with us. I'm Brian Williams, reporting tonight from London. I'll see you from here tomorrow morning on Today. And then, of course, we hope to see you right back here tomorrow evening. Good night.
Cold case cracked. A woman stabbed and left to die on a sidewalk in Northeast Portland. 14 years later, an arrest. Who's behind bars now and who they're still looking for? Big Tobacco's big setback. A jury awarded the widow of a Portland smoker $80 million in her lawsuit against Philip Morris. Hear from the family now that they can finally collect the cash. And pass the pepper? You've heard about peanuts and pistachios, but pepper too? Now part of a salmonella scare, the product to avoid.
From the KGW HD studios, where the news comes first. News Channel 8 at 6 starts now.
Hello, I'm Tracy Berry.
And I'm Joe Donlin. First at 6, the case was cold for 14 years. The murder of a woman stabbed repeatedly and left to die on a Portland sidewalk. Well, now, after all these years, a new tip leads to an arrest. News Channel 8's Mike Benner is live in the newsroom. How did police get this break, Mike?
Well, Joe, an anonymous tip was called into Crime Stoppers back in late February. 4 days later, cold case detectives were in Tacoma, Washington, where they arrested their suspect. He is 38-year-old Chantel Lamar Moses. He'll be arraigned tomorrow morning on 3 counts of aggravated murder. He's accused of killing.
Atiyah Brothers, established in 1900, offering oriental rugs and wall-to-wall carpeting at Southwest Sequoia and Bonita Road in Tiger.